Happy Frigg's Day. I want to talk about Odin castrating himself. Now, about a month ago, I was working on translating a certain section of the Havamal for myself. And this was the section that focuses on the runes for my Runic Journey, and to try and gain some insight into how different people have interpreted these words for themselves and translating them. I am an enthusiast. I am not a scholar. So it's just that sort of, well, I'm going to go into it with an open mind and sort of see what I make of it. Inspired a little bit by Maria Vilhorg, who, with her some of her books, she goes for hard translations, which is inspiring in itself, and has to be said was one of my sources for taking the Old Norse as is written and trying to break down all the components. So, it was with some curiosity that while translating verse 138, I hit a theory. I say a theory, it's more a case of it's just like sort of, is this suggesting this? Well, hang on a minute. If I'm looking at this and the suggestion is this, why is it none of the publications or sources that we use mention this? I'm being the idiot because, I'm an enthusiast. I'm not a scholar. There can't be anything to it. So I kind of got a couple of notes in my... you're probably not going to be able to make out much on this page, but I just made a couple of notes and thought, I'm going to be wrong. It's an interesting idea, but just leave it there and carry on. So, yeah, I'll come back to this in a minute. Essentially, last week, going out for my birthday, went with our friend, my Danish friend, who is a pagan, and it was sort of, in the course of a conversation, it was just like, I want to bring this up, just as a discussion point. So, it's just that sort of, what is your opinion, being Danish and, speaking the language, of Odin castrating himself? When he hangs himself on the tree, that he castrates himself, and it just sort of, my expectation was just to go away, you don't understand our language. However, my dear friend went, oh yeah. I was like, what? For the past month, it's just that sort of, I'm being the idiot. And yet, sort of presenting this theory to my Danish friend, she just sort of went, yeah. And we spoke about it briefly, because it's just what I wanted to do was to show her my notes the next day. So we just spoke about it briefly, and it's just that sort of, why is it then sort of amateur me has sort of looked at these words and gone, well, okay, this is talking about Odin castrating himself. why is that not more widely sort of spoken about, or sort of even acknowledged? And there's just no real answer. To be fair, I'm now at a point, this is going to be like a part one, because now it's just that sort of, well, okay, this theory has some legs, shall we say. I need to look into it more. And I've going to be honest, I've not sort of gone, well, okay, maybe I am the only person talking about this. It's just like, why isn't it more generally known as a conversation point? Or sort of, there are more other translations where this is accepted. So I've got to look into that. Well, all I'm going to do is just sort of reiterate my translation of verse 138, what I have made of it. And rather than being, I don't know, dismissive of this theory, I'm going to include it. And then it's a case of, it's on me to look into this further. So verse 138 of the Havamal, my translation is, "Know I that I hang, wind up, hurt on, nights all 9, speared unfathered, and found Odin, self, ourselves, me, in discontent, hurt, your mannin know, whose male of root run." And it says to me, and obviously you've got to take into account canon as well, but this says to me that it's sort of disconnecting and knowing how the root runs. And if we're going to talk about genitalia, the penis, it's like, you know, there's a root to it and various things, and it's just sort of, I say, this endorses and talks about really sort of to gain the knowledge of the runes. When Odin hangs himself on this tree, you know, it doesn't mention Yggdrasil, but I think the implication's fair. It's just this castration theory that has some credibility to it. So this is my discussion point. If you feel like commenting, please do. And I say, I'm going to come back to this subject once I've sort of gone down the rabbit hole much deeper, because I can't be the only one, especially, let's say, with my friend going, oh yeah, it's yeah, it's just sort of going beneath the layers of Norse paganism, where, I don't know, it's not a subject that's maybe wanted or even discussed. So this is the end of part one. I don't know when I'll make part two to this video. It is, I think it feels, a critical part of my runic journey, my journey, and is perhaps a critical aspect of the path of power. So I hope you've liked this. Even if you want to challenge my suggestion or challenge this reasoning or theory, please do so. Because that's fair. It's where discovery happens when you have debate. So if you've watched this, thank you. Do take care, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.